Kung Fu Panda is one of DreamWorks' most successful franchises, spawning 4 movies and 2 TV shows that I have not seen. So let's take a journey back through these movies to see if they're just as good as everyone remembers. There's always something so special about revisiting a movie in a long-running franchise, to see what things were like before all the fame and wealth. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to complain about. This is just as good as people say. This is a movie with lots of heart and some pretty powerful messages backing it, like not judging a book by its cover, following your dreams, and even body positivity. These are all great things to implement to a kids movie to get the point across to all the youths. All these messages are presented to us by Po, the Kung Fu Panda. Let me tell you, Jack Black absolutely smashes this role. He provides such a powerful performance, and I really think this is what made the franchise so successful. Po is a very charismatic character who is told over and over again that he can't be the legendary dragon warrior because he's a panda. Like, they drive the "oh, you're fat" line down our throats. But it never feels mean because Po always bounces back. Literally. Somehow they made Po both determined and cowardly, which I think is really interesting to see. Of course, when you hear someone dangerous is coming to kill you, you're going to be running for the hills. Opposing him is Tai Lung, the villain of the film. He was told from a young age that he could be the Dragon Warrior, so when he was rejected, he spiraled into a rage and then got locked up, only to break out using a feather and completely decimating the prison he was locked in. This guy is so fucking cool. His backstory is pretty sad, but it's a good motivation for a villain to have and helps us sympathize with him. Okay, we got a great hero, a great villain, but how are the side characters, no one asked? Shifu is pretty cool, Oogway is alright, and the Furious Five are barely characters. They hardly have any personality except Tigress, who is mean, I guess. I get that it would be hard to flesh out everyone in an hour and a half, so I'll give this movie the benefit of the doubt. Monkey's played by my favorite voice actor, Jackie Chan. You would hope that a movie all about Kung Fu would have great action, right? Well, it does, with all the fights going so hard for no reason. Look, his hands are on fire! While watching the movie for this video, I did think at first that the final confrontation with Po and Tai Lung was a disappointing final fight, but then I rewatched that scene and realized that it wasn't really about the action. Po doesn't really fight Tai Lung using Kung Fu, rather just doing goofy shit he picked up throughout the movie. That's why he was destined to defeat Tai Lung. Of course, in a one-on-one Kung Fu battle, Tai Lung would destroy Po, but this isn't that. Tai Lung has no idea how to deal with Po, as his body's very different to other warriors he faced. Tai Lung can't do his pressure point bullshit because we saw in an earlier scene that it's hard to get into him because of Po's fat. Po literally uses his fat ass against Tai Lung.
What are you gonna do, big guy? Sit on me?
I really enjoy the moments when Po is interacting with other characters. The scene where Oogway gives Po the motivation to keep trucking on. The moment Po and Shifu both have no idea how Po will defeat Tai Lung, which depicts this dilemma well. And the 5 warming up to Po. It's all great. Shifu and Oogway have a nice moment when they learn of Tai Lung approaching. Oogway just dips and tells Shifu to handle it. What a baller. There's a lot of funny moments like, who let Mantis hold the bridge? Fun movie with great action and characters. Surely this can't be topped. Well, I'll be damned. They actually did it. They topped the first one. It's well known that Taekwondo Bear 2 is a better overall movie. The last film created this solid character in Po, so you'd have to wonder where they would take him from here. Well, I can answer that question. Take him on a journey of self-discovery and further deepen the character's growth. I was really impressed with how they handled Po's arc in this movie because I didn't think they had anywhere else to take him. But answering the question of where's Po's biological parents is a great idea. I didn't realize until now that the first movie doesn't even mention how Po is obviously adopted. Not even a single line. But now we understand that Po was left here by his mother after Lord Shen killed the panda population over paranoia. Who's Lord Shen? Well, he's the villain, of course. Did you really have to ask that after I said he killed off all the pandas? Shen is sour because he was kicked out of his house by his parents and now wants to take over China. A fortune teller told him that a panda would defeat him, so he killed them, blah blah blah, and now we're caught up. Shen is terrified of this premonition coming true, so he invents a cannon out of paranoia. I can't say I'm all that jazzed about Shen's plan being to take over the world, but for the story, he doesn't have to have a devious, overcomplicated plan. It's mainly about Po discovering where he came from so he can attain inner peace, so he can properly stop Shen. The two characters reflect each other nicely. Po spent the last movie trying to live up to his destiny, while Shen is trying to avoid it. You could say they're like yin and yang. After Shen's weapon is obliterated by Po, this scene gave me goosebumps, Shen is confused why Po found peace after knowing what he did to his parents. This is such a good character moment as Po tells him to stop living in the past because what happens now is all that matters. Yeah, Po's dead parents don't matter. Po now knows what happened, but it doesn't change who he is now. Once again, the two mainest characters are done really well, but have some of the side characters improved? Barely. Once again, I think the Furious 5 are kind of boring, but I do think they are better here, by the tiniest amount. Actually, no. Tigress is way better than her Furious co-workers. She acts more like a friend to Po. She's there for him, but also knows when to be tough on him. She even almost opens up to him before the others interrupt. I'll be honest, not many of the side characters interest me that much. I think that was the only thing that wasn't improved this time around. The comedy is way better.
No snack stops this time.
The action is even cooler, and it's nice seeing Po's skills improve, rather than him just sitting on people. By the way, Po dabs at the end, so 10 out of 10 movie, let's move on.
Hold on, wait. It's working. No. No!
I'm just realizing now. This movie came out in 2016. That's really close. I thought this movie came out in like 2013. Anyway, me getting old aside, Karate Cop 3 is still a fantastic movie, but I don't think it reaches the height of the second one. To be fair, it was already extremely difficult to do that, so I don't think people should be too hard on this movie. It does a lot of things right, but a few things I don't like. The problem for me was the villain. I wish Kai was portrayed more seriously instead of the goofy guy we got. There are moments here where Kai comes off really threatening and powerful, but I'm not quivering in my boots when I see him. J.K. Simmons does a great job voicing the character, but I think making him more menacing would add a lot more to the movie. He shows up very early on, so we don't have to waste any time getting to his plan. He wants to steal as much chi as he can from the masters across China, and he starts by getting revenge on Oogway in the spirit realm. Oogway wasn't in the last movie, so his return had me excited. I do enjoy the shift from the very realistic elements like kung fu and cannons to mystical chi magic. It's a natural next step from cannons, I guess. Po's arc in this movie is a little confusing to me. He's trying to figure out who he is, which feels like it's stepping on the last movie's toes. He's trying to learn what it means to be a panda, which is kind of lame. Or maybe it's Po learning to be a teacher, but that's generic. It's hard to expand a character who is already so expanded, literally. But I'm going to throw my hat into the ring and try and rewrite the show. So Po's arc will be about him not relying too much on himself. His status and skills have gotten a bit to his head, so he thinks he can save everyone by himself, disregarding the five. And he has to learn to let others help him, or something, which could also kind of lead into the teaching element. I know that sounds pretty basic, but shut up, let me dream. Alright, enough fooling around. I bet you want to know what I think of the Furious 5 in this one. Well, they're still bland. Sorry, Mantis does do the Seth Rogen laugh. Crane and Mantis do have their own scene together, so I did enjoy that, but Viper and Monkey still have nothing. I'm not even going to include Tigress in this conversation because, once again, she's the only one who has any importance as she shows up at the village later on. I think they should have swapped Tigress with someone else because Tigress has already gotten plenty of screen time, so let one of the others get some. My pick is Viper because I think she likes Po. Likes him, if you know what I'm saying. She was the first one to be nice to Po in the first movie. She was up his butt in the second one, and here she's the only one who didn't dog on his teaching. Explore something like that. A character who did get more screen time was Peng, the goose. He doesn't add all that much, but because Po's birth father showed up, of course Peng must have a jealousy arc, which concludes in a wonderful scene between the two dads. Lee is also a great character. I like how they treat Lee. Obviously lying about knowing chi is a scummy thing to do, but like he says, he doesn't want to lose his son again. He's a desperate parent and doesn't want anything to happen to his only son. This film might not be oozing with heart, but there are a few scenes that borrow the same source from the other movies. In the end, Po must sacrifice himself to send Kai back to the spirit world by doing this.
What's that?
Son! Skadoosh!
No way Kai would fall for that. Their final fight in the spirit realm goes pretty hard, and Po explodes Kai. Hooray! Then Po and Oogway vibe a little, and Po goes home. Pogo. Please do not sleep on this movie, like, it's so good. I don't know how DreamWorks is able to make all these characters so likable, but I'm excited to see what they do in Judo Grizzly 4.
Dinner, please. Dinner with peas in a sesame soy glaze. This is not working at all.
So it's a new day. I've now seen Kung Fu Panda 4, and I'm sad to report that it's pretty mid. I want to preface, mid doesn't mean the movie's bad. It just means there was equal stuff that I liked and disliked. I also know I'm a bit late. Australia just got this movie on the 22nd when it came out on the 8th, like for everywhere else. I was kind of disappointed because I felt that the other movies in the franchise felt more than just kids movies. But this one is more kids movie. My biggest problem with the movie was how goofy it was. Again, the franchise has always had its goofy moments, but this movie cranks that shit up to 9. Not 11, but 9. We went from dealing with the realization of Poe's entire species being dead to characters talking to little floating heads. These moments just gave me secondhand embarrassment. This movie was all around just not funny to me. There were a few jokes that got a smile out of me, but that was about it. This movie also lacked the lesson that every other movie has had. Oh, sorry, there is a message. Change is good. How boring. That is such a lame concept, which every other movie has done. The change stuff comes with Po needing to pick the next Dragon Warrior, which also feels weird, as Po has only been the Dragon Warrior for what, a couple of years? I get that someone needs to fill Oogway's place as spiritual leader, but it just feels so rushed. Poe's obviously against this idea, as he still wants to be the Dragon Warrior, and I agree! What if Shifu had the arc of becoming the spiritual leader as the B plot, while Po goes after the chameleon? Instead, we have Ping and Lee just retracing Poe's footsteps, which adds nothing to the film. Kung Fu Panda 3 had a great B-plot, with Kai slowly getting closer to Po, while getting stronger along the way. But here we just have two gay dads. I don't think they're actually gay though. It's tragic, honestly, just seeing this movie derail such a solid trilogy, but there are a few redeeming qualities. Firstly, I think they kept Tai Lung's character intact. He's still really cool, and still shits on Po, but comes to kind of respect Po by the end. He also had a scene at the very start, but that was the chameleon, so it doesn't count. DreamWorks marketed this movie with the promise of Tai Lung's return, but he got like 2 minutes of screen time, so I felt lied to. I like that the staff Oogway gave Po last movie is the main MacGuffin of the plot, instead of just forgetting about it. And Po can still use his Chi Dragon stuff. Po goes off solo this time, not having the Furious 5 to bail him out. So we see how Po handles himself. Not well, mind you, but he was manipulated by the other main character, Zhen, played by Awkwafina. She's a little thief who helps Po get to the chameleon. Wait. Awkwafina? Thief? Is this just her character from Jumanji? Her character is also very predictable. She was raised by thieves, so she has trust issues. Until Po comes along and shows her how to be compassionate. Bleh. The reveal of Zhen working for the chameleon was so obvious, but me and my friends dumbasses didn't even realize and we were actually blindsided by this reveal. Now I've mentioned the chameleon a bunch of times, but I haven't talked about her yet. Well, she's the main villain, and honestly, I don't have a problem with her. She's a sorceress who can transform into anyone, which is a pretty cool idea. But she wants to absorb the kung fu skills of all the villains in the spirit realm, so she'll be the greatest kung fu master of all time. You may be wondering, why? Well, when she went to the different masters to learn kung fu, they all turned her away, saying she was too small. Well, that's stupid when there's Mantis, Viper, that chicken? Yeah, backstory could have had some work, but I still enjoy what we got. She needs Poe's staff to open a gate to the spirit realm, and that's when we get Tai Lung, so I can't complain. There's also cameos from Shen and Kai, but they obviously couldn't get their voice actors back, so they just don't say anything, which is really distracting. The final fight is pretty cool, and it unlocked my monkey brain seeing Poe fight himself. If you've been paying attention, you'd probably realize that I haven't mentioned the Furious 5. Well, dear viewer, you might need to sit down for this one. They aren't in the movie! Hooray! They finally removed them from a movie. And yeah, their absence didn't impact the movie at all. Sorry, They do show up at the very end, but they don't speak either, so it's still very noticeable. The movie ends with Poe picking Zhen to be the next Dragon Warrior, and I have no idea how I feel about this. Like, I don't hate it, but she hasn't proven to me that she's all that great of a character. I don't think we'll ever understand DreamWorks or their movies. How is a movie from 2008 better than one in 2024? This movie is still pretty enjoyable to watch, but is all around just mid. Who knows if we'll ever get a movie like Kung Fu Panda 2 again. But Kung Fu Panda 4 has Mr. Beast in it.